It's Friday, which means it's time for our Friday Focus, and today we are talking about artificial intelligence, how it can help you in your everyday life, in your work, and even help with your kids. So we're joined by Dr. Berkeley Almand-Hunter from the Roux Institute to talk a little bit about this. Teaches AI to both graduate students and to the workforce. So thanks for joining us on our Friday Focus today.
Thanks so much for having me.
I want to start with a little perspective on you. You were recently part of a pretty big conference here in Maine on artificial intelligence. So walk us through who attended that, who's part of the conversation, and then your role in that.
Great, yeah, so it was a really exciting event at the Roux Institute last week. We had over 400 business leaders, researchers, and AI practitioners from all over Maine and New England. There were a lot of really great talks and workshops, but we had speeches by senior leaders from JAX, IDEX, as well as Bangor Savings Bank. And my personal role was that I was on a panel about AI in society, and I also led a workshop in the afternoon on advanced usages of chatbots like ChatGPT, Claude, and Copilot in the afternoon.
So 400 businesses speaks to just how deeply involved AI is in what's going on in our world right now.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about we'll cover a number of topics this half hour and at 12:30 on News Center Maine afternoon, but curious to focus this conversation a little bit personal use. Of course, it's easy to say, I'm overwhelmed by AI, but there are a lot of ways to start personally. So these are the topics we'll cover: personal, AI at work, and education over the next 40 minutes. So personal use, where do you recommend? I'm an average Joe. I don't know a whole lot about this. How can I dip my toes into the AI world?
Yeah, so I think it's totally normal to feel overwhelmed. We all do.
Thank you for reassuring us.
Okay, yeah. AI is great at summarization. So if you can think about tasks that summarize things like planning travel or planning restaurant reservations, so you can ask much more detailed questions to AI tools than you can to Google. So I could say, I want to go out to dinner in Portland. I'm a really adventurous eater. My children are super picky, and my husband's a vegetarian. Like, what place would work for all of us? And it will search all of the reviews and summarize it. You can also use it for, again, summarizing reviews. So say you were looking for a new coffee maker and you wanted to find the best value deal, and you didn't want to read a ton of reviews. You could say, give me the 5 best coffee makers and make me a table with pros and cons and links and prices and all of those things. So it will do all of that for you.
Using that word summarizes is helpful to think of, because for folks who aren't familiar, AI is pulling existing data. It's not creating information.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. So it can work in a couple different ways, but it's a probabilistic next word predictor. And so it's a good analogy that I've heard is it's not really answering your question, it's answering what would an answer to my question sound like. But another layer on top of that is it can also search the web. So in the example of the reviews, it is searching those reviews, but the way that it ultimately writes things is through next word prediction.
What would the answer to my question sound like? Okay.
I think it's
good
really
things to think about.
Yeah.
So some other uses, our producer Julie has pulled together a few possibilities of other ways we can use them in our usual lives. I know we've talked about gardening is one of the conversations our producer Julie has talked about as well. Kind of plotting in, what do I do with this space? It would be one way to use it.
Yeah, my friends actually had a joking conversation about getting pools the other day, where everybody took an image of their backyard and what it would look like with a pool in it, and it made lots of nice landscaping.
Who has the best setup?
Who has the best setup? Nobody's really getting a pool, but one can dream, right? And you can do the same thing with different plants. You can also generate things like free party invitations. Anything
you can dream of.
Yep.
And I want to touch briefly on prompts. You were describing some language to use. The prompt is so important.
Yep.
To what you get out of this.
Exactly.
How should we be thinking about our prompts?
So there are a lot of different ways to think about it. One of my favorite tips is to ask it to limit the length of its response. So like if I wanted 5 project ideas for a class, instead of just asking for 5 ideas, I could say, give me 5 ideas of 10 words or fewer each. And that way, if I don't like them, I can iterate quickly and then ask for more information when I want it. Because you probably noticed that it will default to giving you a very long response.
A lot of information.
Yeah, you also need to tell it what you want. It can't read your mind. So what are you looking for? Who's your audience? What's the tone? Is it professional? Is it personal? You can also Ask it for things like references so that you can check the output because the output's not always correct.
Okay.
And also you can even personalize your profile. You can put instructions in your profile that stay up all the time and will go with every prompt so that you get consistent behavior.
It's about training behavior. Okay, we have much more to talk about, of course, in our next half hour with Dr. Berkeley. Thank you for the first look at this. We'll be right back.
Thank you.